Just occasionally act when it comes up?
Yeah, if it comes up, like, if it's a cool, like, neat little gig or something like that, like, yeah, sure. But like I said, I don't pursue it in any kind of, like, any way. Like, I don't have agents anymore and things like that. Lots of weird things happen to kids all the time, all around the world, every day. I have something to show for it.
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working, they're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this business.
And they are
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, you won't believe what's happening. In an absolutely shocking new viral moment, Macaulay Culkin just dropped a brutal threat that has Hollywood's biggest names shaking in their boots. And let me tell you, honey, no one is safe.
Lots of weird things happen to kids all the time, all around the world, every day. I have something to show for it.
From Oprah to Barbara Walters, Culkin is absolutely going off, calling out the very people who he claims him behind closed doors. Can you even imagine?
The life that, like that, that my circumstances.
Everyone's buzzing that this isn't just some personal vendetta. Culkin is ready to expose everything and air out all the dirty laundry of some of Hollywood's most powerful figures. Listen up, because after staying under the radar for what feels like forever, Culkin has come back with a vengeance, and he's ready to spill all the tea about Hollywood's darkest secrets. His absolutely jaw-dropping revelations about the industry's shadiest players, especially involving big names like Oprah, Barbara Walters, and trust me, there are plenty more, have everyone who's paying attention completely shook. We're talking about exposing Tinseltown's sinister underbelly here.
Things happen to kids.
Yeah, man,
I got some money out of it.
Look, I'm not working like the diamond mines. I'm not a child soldier. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I came out the other end. Something to show for it. The food sucks, the wine's terrible, and the women are ugly. But otherwise, it's fantastic. Yeah. No, it's like it was an agreeable lifestyle. I had a bunch of friends out there. They were always asking me, when are you going to move to Paris and when are you going to learn French?
Let's dive into the Oprah situation first, because this is wild. Despite her image as this beloved media queen, there are whispers that Oprah might actually be an industry handler. I know, right? She's been linked to some seriously questionable characters like John of God, Harvey Weinstein, and Diddy. But here's where it gets really dark. There are rumors floating around that she might have even helped these people find their victims. If these allegations turn out to be true, it could literally destroy Hollywood as we know it.
On the whistle on the entertainment industry elite to reveal that Hollywood studio executives are bloodthirsty Satanists.
Remember how that freedom scandal totally rocked the entertainment industry last year? Well, hold on to your seats, because what's really got everyone talking now is the shocking comeback of our beloved Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin. In an alleged interview that has everyone's jaws on the floor, Culkin has dropped some major bombshells that are sending shockwaves through Hollywood.
Because a lot of things were happening, like, big and fast with me. And I think, yes,
It all started with this absolutely wild article that's been making the rounds. According to this unverified piece, Culkin allegedly exposed how powerful figures are involved in some seriously disturbing rituals with young actors. The headline alone, Macaulay Culkin, satanic elites do the unthinkable to young ones during rituals, is enough to make your skin crawl. The article claims that Culkin accused ruthless studio executives of being absolutely horrific individuals who carry out terrifying rituals on young actors. These allegations sound like something straight out of a horror movie, painting this incredibly dark picture of supposed practices involving these powerful figures.
Differently?
I'm always treated differently.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not.
Now, here's where things get complicated. Back in December 2017, several websites published articles claiming that our Home Alone star dropped these bombshells during a radio interview. The story spread like wildfire across sites like Your New Wire, Neon Nettle, and News Punch. But here's the tea. These sites are known for creating sensationalized content. According to these reports, Culkin allegedly claimed that Hollywood executives are involved in unspeakable acts against children in the industry. He supposedly survived because he was a smart, suspicious kid and became too famous to be targeted like some of the others. The details are absolutely chilling. Culkin allegedly said you learn early to recognize which ones have dark intentions. But wait, it gets even more disturbing. In this supposed radio show in Paris, France, Culkin allegedly made some seriously shocking claims about certain products made from unspeakable materials. The controversial article on News Punch, credited to Alan Smithy, claimed that at just 11 years old, a Hollywood executive tried to get Culkin hooked on drugs and bragged about custom-made items crafted from, I can't even say it, from a deceased child star named Heather O'Rourke. These explosive claims supposedly appeared in French media, including L'Express, but were quickly taken down. However, and this is important, these allegations from those websites completely fabricated. There's no credible evidence that such an interview ever happened, and reputable French media outlets never published anything like this.
Working in this industry, it can push you in a lot of different directions that are not necessarily.
Now, let's keep it real for a second. We haven't confirmed whether this article is legit or not. When it comes to serious allegations like these, we absolutely need to wait for solid evidence before jumping to conclusions. You know how Hollywood rumors spread like wildfire, right? But here's the thing. In Tinseltown, snitches get stitches isn't just a saying. Speaking out against powerful people can be super risky. If there's any truth to what's being claimed, it might explain why Culkin's career seemed to vanish into thin air. I mean, his iconic role as Kevin McAllister in Home Alone, that story could be straight out of a Hollywood drama itself.
There's Home Alone, and she's like, huh? You wanna watch it? And I'm like, you wanna watch Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin, don't you?
Can you believe that Home Alone turned this adorable 10-year-old into a global sensation overnight? Suddenly, little Macaulay was everywhere. Marketing campaigns, magazine covers, and constantly being chased by paparazzi. His performance wasn't just cute, it earned him a Golden Globe nomination and a Young Artist Award. Hollywood producers couldn't get enough of him, casting him in hit after hit. Uncle Buck, My Girl, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. He even got his own Saturday morning cartoon show called Wish Kid and appeared in Michael Jackson's Black or White music video. But
good circle.
You cheater!
He cheats a lot. But he's fun. He loves.
But oh honey, all that success came with a heavy price tag. The industry's obsession with profit and fame completely ignored what it was doing to this poor child. Managed by his parents, Culkin's life became nothing but work, interviews, and public appearances. Hollywood saw him as their personal cash cow, putting this poor kid through an absolutely brutal workload. How was he supposed to have any kind of normal childhood?
Hurts himself. This is opening night.
Yeah.
And injures himself and can't do the rest of the run of the whole show. And apparently that was like the last acting gig he ever did, because it was quite embarrassing.
Then in 1995, things got even messier when Culkin's parents, Kit and Patricia, split up. We're talking about a nasty custody battle over Macaulay and his 6 siblings. These personal dramas just piled on top of all his career struggles, making everything so much harder for the poor kid. The relationship with his father completely fell apart after his mom won full custody. And get this, when he turned 18, Culkin suddenly had access to all his earnings. In this adorably candid interview with Ellen DeGeneres, he joked that it felt like someone else had done all the work, and he just inherited the money.
Did you see your money?
I didn't see it until I turned 18. You had I call it the slip of paper meeting, where they kind of pretty much put a number on a piece of paper and like slide it across the table.
As his star power started fading, Culkin made this super brave decision to step away from acting. Can you blame him? He just wanted to feel normal again, away from all those prying eyes. He wanted people to see him as just another person walking down the street, not that kid from Home Alone. During his break from the spotlight, Culkin explored all kinds of creative stuff. Writing, music, you name it. In 2003, he popped up on Will and Grace, which was huge back then, and tried his comeback in this biographical drama called Party Monster. Some critics actually loved seeing him in this totally different role, but sadly, it wasn't enough to put him back in the spotlight.
It was just, I lost the reason why I was doing it. And so I need to get reacquainted with my family. I hadn't spent time with my family.
Finding his place outside the shadow of his childhood fame? Totally not easy. But here's what's amazing. Culkin kept searching for meaningful ways to express himself beyond Hollywood's suffocating boundaries. His journey really shows us that success in Hollywood isn't always about following the usual path. Now, the media has been absolutely ruthless to Macaulay, often painting him as just another child star gone wrong. But they're completely missing the point. Do they have any idea the kind of pressure these poor kids face in Hollywood? Sure, all that glitz and glamour looks amazing from the outside, but the emotional cost? Absolutely devastating. And get this, Culkin isn't fighting this battle alone. Other former child stars like Corey Feldman and Elijah Wood have his back, sharing their own shocking experiences in the industry. Let me tell you what Elijah Wood said, it'll make your jaw drop. He spilled some serious tea about Hollywood's dark side, saying, "Clearly something major was going on. It was all organized. There are a lot of vipers in this industry. people who only have their own interests in mind. There is darkness in the underbelly. If you can imagine it, it's probably happened. And then Corey Feldman stepped up too, revealing the absolutely horrifying exploitation he and other child stars endured.
People that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working, they're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this.
One of the most disgusting things about Hollywood is how it totally takes advantage of young talent. We've all heard those horrible stories about young actors being exploited by industry bigwigs. And trust me, it's not just gossip. These things actually happen. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. Some people are saying she's part of this elite group that just turns a blind eye to all this awful behavior. The most frustrating part? These stories keep getting swept under the rug or just don't get the attention they deserve.
Elijah Wood says Hollywood has a seedy underbelly of and that those responsible are being protected by the entertainment industry elite.
Listen, this conversation about child in Hollywood isn't new. Back in 2013, Corey Feldman wrote this absolutely heartbreaking book detailing the alleged abuse and his The Lost Boys co-star Corey Haim faced as child stars. But you know what's crazy? The discussion didn't blow up like the Bill Cosby scandal did after Hannibal Buress made that now famous joke. But maybe, just maybe, this is finally the moment for real change. Elijah Wood had this incredible interview with the Sunday Times where he called Hollywood an industry full of vipers, saying, "If you can imagine it, it's probably happened." How terrifying is that? Elijah was actually one of the lucky ones. His mom protected him by keeping him away from parties. But he said his peers, they were constantly being preyed upon by powerful people. He explained it perfectly. If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. People with parasitic interests will see you as their prey.
Both internally and, where I am in my career if it hadn't been for my mom.
She kept you grounded?
Yeah, she was obsessed with keeping me grounded. She drilled humility into me.
In his flourishing career, Wood has seen things that would absolutely shock you. Things that should never happen to anyone. But thankfully, during all his focus on work, he found something beautiful. The love of his life and mother of his son. Let me tell you about little Elijah Wood. This sweetheart knew he wanted to entertain from such a young age. Born as the second of 3 kids to Debbie and Warren Wood, he grew up in this absolutely loving family that supported all his dreams. At just 7 years old, he was already modeling and taking piano lessons. His big break, appearing in Paula Abdul's Forever Your Girl music video in 1988. Then came roles in Back to the Future Part 2, Paradise, and The Good Son. But at 15, poor Elijah had to take a break. His parents were going through this messy divorce. But you know what? He handled it better than most teens would. After taking some time to focus on himself and his family, Elijah came back with this adorable role in Flipper. You know, that sweet family movie about a boy and his dolphin.
Able to work with the dolphins was sort of something that I've always wanted to do. And I mean, I really want to do this.
But here's where things get shocking. During his peak, Elijah noticed something really disturbing. His friends like Corey Feldman, Culkin, and Scarlett Johansson weren't getting work like he was, and the reason, absolutely horrifying. You know how so many people see Hollywood as this magical dream factory? Well, recent revelations have torn off that pretty mask and shown us the dark truth underneath. Several brave celebrities have come forward with their disturbing experiences, and let me tell you, the public's reaction has been intense.
Literally just a stalker hanger-on dude that basically got into my life because he worked for the Saturn Awards and was trying to give me an award. So he called me.
Now, let's talk about Corey Feldman for a minute. Can you believe this poor baby started acting when he was just 3 years old? I mean, how can a 3-year-old possibly understand what they're getting into? Of course, it all came down to his mother, who clearly saw the dollar signs in her child's future. Starting that young really messed with Corey's life, exposing him to all the dark, twisted sides of Hollywood that he'd later have to confront.
My mom was doing it with somebody on the set of The Lost Boys.
Okay.
This hot little Asian woman who I was sitting there one night because I was falling asleep and
During his peak years, like Elijah, Corey was probably making serious money. But here's the heartbreaking part. Corey has claimed that his own mother exploited his earnings. Sadly, this happens way too often with child stars. Some of these poor kids have had to legally separate from their parents just to protect their money. At least these struggles have led to better conditions for young performers now.
A little frustrated, like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna stay up all night? And this little Asian lady comes up to me and she's like, hey, you should just do what your mom does to stay awake. And I was like, what's that? And she's like,
back in the 1980s, actors, especially the young ones, had no idea how to protect themselves from exploitation in Hollywood. Corey Feldman's story is like this terrifying warning to future generations of actors. It really shows why we desperately need to protect young talent in an industry that can be absolutely predatory.
when you get to those ages, all of a sudden they start treating you more like you're an adult, right? And the work code still applies.
In 2013, Corey did something incredibly brave. He released this tell-all memoir that exposed all the horrible things he and Corey Haim went through in Hollywood when they were just 11 to 13 years old. It really opened everyone's eyes to how these industry bigwigs were treating children. Finally, people started talking about how Hollywood needed to do way better at protecting young actors.
It's like, oh, okay, well, she makes it sound so easy and harmless, I might as well. If my mom's doing it, how bad could it be?
His revelations about the faced, especially during his childhood, went way beyond just Hollywood. He even opened up about how his later struggles with substance abuse were partly because of all the trauma he endured during those terrible years.
Like, you know, we were talking, we were sitting in this girl's apartment. She takes me out driving. She taught me how to drive a stick shift high on for the...
Corey's decision to speak up, maybe even name names, shows just how deep these problems run in showbiz, especially for child actors. It's like what happened to Brooke Shields, being exploited at such a young age. Corey's revelations really pushed for more awareness and protection for young performers. And get this, as Corey became more outspoken, he faced major pushback from industry people who were supposedly connected to Oprah.
They do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're...
Speaking of Oprah, honey, she's been through her share of controversies. We're talking accusations of smear campaigns against critics, sabotaging careers, and some really disturbing claims.
Oprah legitimized the notorious Jao Tashira, aka John of God, as a miraculous faith healer, one who could cure cancer.
Rose McGowan even tweeted about it, saying, I am glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with Weinstein to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons' victims, she is about supporting a power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. And then singer Sia joined in, accusing Oprah of helping both Jeffrey and Harvey. The whole Oprah-Jeffrey Epstein connection? That's wrapped in so much mystery. Online conversations suggest Oprah might have been involved in Epstein's election. Can you even imagine? Even fans are starting to notice all these weird connections. One wrote, Oprah is one of the bad guys. Another added, I didn't believe Oprah could possibly be connected with any of this until she started that girl's school, and then I expected stories to come out years later about problems there. That's all for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye. Until then, goodbye. Until then.